Hey there, tribe members. Welcome back to Diva's educational videos. This is Doberman University content right here, and we are going to be tackling a question that we hear a lot recently. Why are purebred dogs like a Doberman Pinscher so expensive? If you've ever seen a champion line Doberman Pinscher priced at $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, you might wonder, where is that money going? Is that just going into their pocket? How is it that some people can afford to charge $1,000 for a dog and others like us are $4,500 or more? These are valid questions that everybody has a right to get fair and reasonable answers about, and that's what I'm going to unpack this right now. I am an experienced breeder. I have 52 years in the breed. I call myself a pedigree expert because I've spent the last 15 years studying pedigrees, and I got mentored by somebody who has a pedigree database 15 years ago, and I was using that then. And albeit I am not a veterinarian, I did go to school to UC Davis to be a veterinarian and took the basic classes, Genetics 101, Mendelian Genetics back in the 1970s in UC Davis, which is a veterinary teaching school. So albeit it was only a 101 level class, for those of you that don't have any genetics experience, it's more like a 300 level class because it was 40 years ago. It isn't today. I have AKC Champions dogs on my wall over here. I did spend in excess of about $30,000 in show fees, entry fees, all of the handling fees that go along with trying to obtain an AKC championship for two of my dogs. And there is simply a ongoing myth that Doberman breeders like me, because I dress well with my $9 necklace and my $7 earrings and my $11.99 sweater, and I look, I dress myself decently, so must be rolling in the dough, right? I must be just rolling in the money hand over fist. Well, that's a myth that Doberman or that any purebred dog owner is just rolling in the money. Let's address some of the foundational issues that as a reputable breeder you're going to be doing when that puppy breeder that makes $1,000 a puppy isn't going to be doing. And that starts with health testing, genetic screening, which isn't health testing. Genetic screening is just a screening process. And Embark, My Dog DNA, those are called genetic screening for just generic things. But the most important testing you can do is the other health testing that we have to do annually once our dogs reach about 3 years of age, and that is an echocardiogram, a Holter monitor, a regular CBC with liver values, a thyroid test, and simple things like if you did OFA, Orthopedic Foundation certificates, if you did hip x-rays and you did the OFA version, you probably spent about $1,100. I spent $300 to get a veterinary evaluation of my hips, rather than submitting the other $700, but many people do that as well. So those costs in and of themselves, just health testing alone for both the sire and the dam can run about $2,000 to $3,000, and that's before you're even factoring in the costs of the show costs, the stud fees. We just spent $3,000 on a stud fee for the Derby and Shimako breeding. I spent $3,000 on that stud fee with Phoebe and Shimako. And then we want to add on that pregnancy and whelping isn't cheap. Ethical breeders don't cut corners, okay? We do raw feeding. We buy lots and lots and lots of things to have for our puppies to have sensory experiences. So we have enclosures, we have X-pens, we have whelping boxes. Just a whelping box by DuraWhelp is about $600. Then you're talking about emergency type things. You might have to do a C-section if your dog has an issue. Like we had a singleton, we had to do a C-section with Dory. That was $3,000. Let's just talk about the puppies from 8 to 12 weeks. What's involved in that? Well, we have to do first and foremost, we have to feed the bitch really, really well. And so we average, I personally in my litters average anywhere from $10 a day to $30 a day for 2 months period of time, feeding all 4 of my dogs and my pregnant mama and the puppies. That's also not counting the time that we handle the puppies. We deal with the puppies. We're up round the clock. So for 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 24 hours a day, somebody has to be here watching all of your dogs, not just the mama dog and the puppies, but someone has to be here. Someone has to be available to go grocery shopping and do other things. Is it unrealistic to consider that we might put a dollar value on our time for the time we put into this? So those things in and of themselves are costs that you, the consumer, are not factoring in. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that for a litter of 6 puppies, now in our case we usually have 10 to 12, so a conservative estimate just for the health testing of the dam is $2,500 a year. Prenatal care is about $1,000 for this litter. Whelping supplies are anywhere from $500 to $2,000 over the course of the 8 weeks. Your titling and show costs, which we've already factored in previously, $30,000 for my dogs. An emergency fund, just having an emergency fund for something that you might need, like I had to go and do a $300 test on a puppy that had a deformity. So that conservatively is around $1,000 to $1,500. So that 6 puppy litter, I'm just factoring on 6 puppies here, so double that for me. It's about $9,000. So it's around $1,500 per puppy, and that doesn't include the thousands of hours of labor. So if, in fact, a litter of 12 is $1,500 to $2,500 per puppy, the profit therein might be less than half of that. Now, where does that profit go? It goes back into the coffers for the next litter. So for those of you that think our puppies at $4,500 to $5,500 are too much, then our recommendation is that you get a rescue. Because if you go and get a rescue, that's going to cost you around $1,000, $1,500 from a rescue, because they have costs involved in their dogs. Or you just cut all of the corners, buy a backyard bred dog, and hope for the best. And support backyard breeders to continue to undermine a healthy market. And you and the public are all responsible for the amount of dogs, of those dogs, that might end up in another rescue. So somebody posted on my page, don't shop, adopt. Well, the reason I have dogs and I'm breeding now is because adopting a dog is just simply not something everyone's gonna do. Everyone is not gonna do that. But those of you that do, you're fucking heroes. It's awesome that you're rescuing these dogs from, disreputable breeders. But my lifetime guarantee, anybody that buys a puppy from me in their lifetime, if something happens, I need to know, because I want to help you place that dog. No dog of mine will ever end up in rescue. So for those of you thinking about buying a quality Doberman, you just need to save your money. And it's worth it, because you might get 10 years worth of life, or 11 or 12 or 13 out of one of my dogs, because I breed for longevity. But regardless, whatever time you get from this animal is time you're never going to forget. And it's money well invested. So albeit you might not be able to afford it right now, but questions, comments, and concerns, please like, share, and repost my comments, and add your own comments, because we would love to address them all. And we hope that this little tutorial might be helpful for some of you that think we're just greeters. I hope it helps. to Brewski Dobermans, Dispelling Doberman Disinformation, and Doberman University on YouTube. Please follow us and see us on Saturday nights at 7 o'clock for my podcast.